keeping up in math class sounds great, but you don't want to get to a point where you're feeling behind. So this video is going to go over some different techniques that you can use to try and keep up in math class and help you be more successful. So first, you've probably talked about this, the time spent on your math class, and that's not just the time in your math class. You need to consider how much time will you spend outside of math class. And the general rule of thumb is that for each credit hour you're in class, you should be spending 2 to 3 hours a week outside of math class. So if you are taking DEV and the college level math or stats class, you're taking 6 credit hours of math. So you should be in class for 6 hours a week. But that means you should be working on math outside of class for 12 to 18 hours a week. That's a lot of time. If you find you're only spending an hour or two on math outside of class and you're not able to keep up, you definitely need to up the time that you're working on that. Okay, another thing to consider, math is like a sport. Now, imagine any sport, maybe tennis. You can watch tennis, you can see the pros at Wimbledon or the US Open or wherever, and you can see what they're doing. And just because you see what they're doing it does not mean that you can go out there and do it the way they do it. Math is like that. You can be in a classroom, you have great instructors who can easily get through many difficult math problems because they've been doing it for years. They've decided to make math a big part of their life. They make it seem easy. You are not just going to be able to pick up the pen or pencil and do the problem in as easy a way. You must practice. Start with easy practice, make it harder. So you've got to practice, and the best way to practice is doing your homework. The very best way, doing your homework. All right, another thing you'll notice in math, if you haven't already, is that new materials build off of the old material very, very quickly. You're not going to be able to get away with not going for a week or not doing some stuff for a week in math just because it's your birthday and you want to go have fun, or you want to go on vacation or whatever. You've got to keep up with it. So even missing a few classes because you're sick can escalate very quickly. If you come back after being sick or having some emergency, you've got to discuss with your instructor, go to the math help room, figure out how to catch up so you don't get more behind. The way to keep up, obviously going to class, but also doing your homework. College level math moves a lot more quickly than like high school level math that you've had before. Most of your learning, that means, is not going to take place in the classroom, but it's going to take place outside of the classroom. If you find the pace is too fast for you and you need that extra time with an instructor, go to office hours. Make an appointment if you can't go to office hours. Go to the Math Learning Center. Hours are posted online. Meet with others in your class. Give yourself lots of practice time. And homework is possibly handled differently than in some of your other classes. Some instructors are just going to give you credit for doing it, which is great. Some instructors will never, ever collect a single problem from you for homework, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing every single problem. This is the way you practice for what's going to be on the test. Some instructors will collect and grade every problem or many problems, and so as you turn in your homework, things have to be correct. Give yourself time to ask questions about the homework before the assessment, the quiz, the collecting of homework, whatever comes about. Tests in college level math classes are going to cover more material than they used to. Some classes will just have one test and a final. Some will have a few tests and a final, but definitely because they're moving so quickly, they're covering more material. That means you've got to keep up with the practice. And remember, keeping up with the practice is doing more homework. This is the way you'll help yourself to be ready for the tests. Now, how do you get the most out of class time? And this class time could be online class or it could be face-to-face. Well, first, show up and stay alert. It sounds simple, but it's really easy, especially when you're meeting 6 times a week for your class, your math class and your DEV class, to say, oh, I don't need to go today or tomorrow, I'll be fine. You've got to show up every day. If you're not feeling it, show up. Got a little bit of a cold, show up. Now, very sick, have something very contagious, stay home. If you're online, you better be showing up every single day, even if it feels more boring because you don't have the opportunity to interact with other people. Show up. Be rested, be ready to do math, come to every class, and then let's follow some of these other tips to help yourself stay alert while you're there. First, take notes. You may feel like you understand all the material, but notes can help you stay focused during class. I often do this even if I understand what's going on, just because it helps me remember what was said. It helps me know what the instructor thinks is important, which will be very useful once tests come around. You should be asking questions. Most instructors are going to welcome questions. Sometimes if they're cramming a whole lot of stuff in, they may say, ooh, can you save that for later? Write it down somewhere and then follow up either with an email or a visit after class or office hours. Let them know what your questions are. Try things yourself. For example, your instructor might be completing an example during class. And so once they've done it, or before they've done it, you should try it on your own. If you're not sure how to do it, you can at least maybe try to predict the next step. Or once you get out of class, try the problem yourself later. All right, so a couple notes. First, don't panic if you feel like you're not keeping up with the lecture. You will find, first, that that's common, but also that it can be very challenging to take notes and follow along at how quickly a college math class moves. To help balance that out, review your notes while the lecture's still fresh in your head, because many of those concepts that you initially found confusing because they went too fast will maybe clear up. Try some of those examples the instructor completed during class without looking at the solution. Once you've tried them, look at the solution. Work with others. Now, you don't have to become lifelong friends. You can, you might, but chat with students around you before, during, or after class. During class, only when it's appropriate, of course. Once you're a little more friendly or you've been assigned to groups, ask questions of each other, help each other out. Perhaps form a study group to work together outside of class. You don't have to have regular meetings, but perhaps meeting once a week or a couple times a week or just when you're stuck will work. This could also be somebody who can help you with borrowing notes if you need to. Don't be too hard on yourself. Remember, everyone struggles in math sometimes. The strategies discussed in this video can make a difference for you. I encourage you to try them.